This is From Courtroom to Carline, the podcast where we discuss life as a lawyer and a parent.
I'm Jenna.
And I'm Rick.
Your hosts and partners both in the courtroom and in parenting.
Join us as we navigate the fascinating worlds of law and family life.
Now, this is not legal advice, but in every episode, From Courtroom to Carline is a delightful blend of legal insight and parenting hilarity.
Get ready for a roller coaster ride where law meets love and where the gavel meets the car line. Welcome to another episode of From Courtroom to Carline, a legal parenting podcast. Today, we've got my good friend Kenny Ackerman on the show. Welcome to the show, Kenny.
Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
So, Kenny, why don't you tell us, we've obviously known each other since high school. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, what your profession is, what your family situation's like.
So, I was born in Clearwater, Florida. Had a short stint in New York, so I guess some people hold me as a New Yorker, but I'm really not. Moved back down to Florida. So I consider myself like a Floridian, grew up in Clearwater. We all went to high school here locally, and I met my wife in Tampa when I went to USF. We got married and then kind of stayed in the same area.
Awesome. So now tell us about your experience working the Bucks games and how you and your wife started really flourishing in the relationship then.
I think because everybody's always like, hey, when's that moment that like you realize like she was the one? Well, I realized it when I was getting sideline passes and like season tickets to the Bucks games. So we met in college. Her first job out of college was for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so she was working events and stuff like that. So obviously, as a lifelong Bucs fan, the perks were unbelievable because I'm this young college kid, just graduated. Now I'm going to all these Bucs events, all this stuff. All my friends are going, so it was really cool. So yeah, she worked for the Bucs, and then that's when at that same time we kind of moved in together, did all of our stuff. But I will say the Bucs weren't the only thing I was interested in, but it definitely helped.
And now you've got 4 kids, right?
Yes. Yeah, we have 4 kids.
Okay. And you're in the construction business. What's the name of your business?
Yes. My dad and I own Accurate Construction. So it's a family-owned business. He's owned it since 95. Prior to that, he was a GC in Long Island. But yeah, so I kind of went back into that with him. So him and I own the company now. And it's based out of like Clearwater, Largo area.
Now, you weren't always in construction. You had another notable profession before that, right?
Yes. Yeah, I was a City of Tampa Police Officer. So I worked there. So I graduated school, went to the academy. Construction was always in my background because it was just in our blood because I grew up doing it. But I kind of wanted to go explore, kind of live that fast life, kind of see what it was about. So I went to the police academy and then was lucky enough to get a job at the City of Tampa. Stayed with them, and then at the time, an opportunity presented itself, and my dad was looking to either get out or take on a partnership. So I kind of got back into construction.
So I remember the first time that Rick told me that we were going to, that I was going to meet you. And he was like, yeah, he's a police officer. My only interaction with police officers at the time was obviously in my profession as a criminal defense attorney. Yep. So I didn't really know what to expect. And then I meet you and I'm like, this guy's a ball of fun. Like he's not your typical, who you expect to see as a police officer. Obviously you weren't on duty.
Yeah.
But did you enjoy your time as an officer?
I did enjoy it. There was a lot of stuff you learn about life being there because I think like just if you're just living your life, you don't know these other elements exist. It was great. I had nothing but good things to say. Everybody I met there, I'm still got a lot of great friends over there. It was just kind of like one of those things where it was like that epic split they talk about in the road. Like, hey man, this is like, at the time we had young kids. We were having more kids, just the balance of that. And then, was I going to be tied to that? The city's great, but there's obviously certain commitments you have to make there to make a endeavor of like getting promoted and stuff like that. So what I did was when this opportunity opened up with my dad to come back in, I did it. So I kind of, for better or worse, we jumped in and that's but no, I enjoyed my time as a police officer for sure.
And you had to work nights, right? I mean, most police
Yes.
officers starting out have to work nights. So how was that,
Yeah.
How did that affect being married, raising kids? I'm sure that's got to be tough.
It was definitely tough. I mean, it was fun to be a cop at night. I mean, because that's when everything happens. So, I mean, being a cop was great at night. But it was definitely tough. It was great when we were starting out because we didn't have any kids. So it was awesome because I would work nights. She would go to work. We'd meet up before I would go back in, and then every day reverse. But then once you started having kids, once you start missing stuff, I think that's one of the things with law enforcement. Like people don't realize like they do miss a lot of stuff just for the inherent nature of the job. So it's like one of those like sacrifices they have to make. And I started seeing that. And that was part of my decision to jump back in with my dad, because I'm like, man, this kind of like, as we have more kids, like for example, we just had open house this week. So it was kind of like, there's no way I could have been working night shift, been at 2 open houses. She's at the other 2. Like, so it was fun working at night, but it was definitely like something where it was like, it took away from family life for sure.
I can definitely relate, because when we found out we were pregnant with our second, that's when we made the decision that I was going to leave Morgan & Morgan and open up my own practice, because I knew there's no way that I would be able to do the work that they expected of me and be able to go to all the school functions, being able to help you out because you still had a full caseload at the public defender's office. So it's, you realize, hey, I got to make a choice here. I got to make a decision. Am I going to be the, working, the one that's absent, but bringing in a bigger paycheck? Or am I going to be present with my kids and, have to sacrifice a little bit of, the career that I thought I was, on track for.
Working toward, yeah.
No, I could definitely relate. So that's good. So how's business going for Accurate Construction?
It's good. We're steady. We're busy. We specialize mostly in like medical construction, so medical build outs, so like dental, a lot of dental, some veterinary, dermatology, stuff like that. We got a great team. I mean, so basically my job as kind of selling and tracking the jobs and everything like that's easy, because we have such a good team that kind of performs it. So I tell people, I'm like, I write the checks and then these guys cash them, because they make everything happen. So it's really cool.
You bring up dental, and I think we had talked about this before too. Rick and I obviously are trying to get more into real estate and investing, and we have noticed that dental practices are usually very on top of getting great buildings, great locations, keeping up with their property. We also heard that they usually will keep it inside of dentists, like they'll only sell to other dentists. So I think you got into a good niche there with medical build-outs.
It's very tight. It took us a while to kind of pop the bubble, so to say, to get into it. But once you're in, and as long as you do a good job, it seems like you'll just keep dominoing down the road. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, because if you do a bad job, then it's like, hey, that'll get out too. So, but like I said, it's going good for right now.
So when did you guys started focusing on, building out dental practices? Like, when did you figure out, hey, this is a nice little niche here that if we get in, we could be set, because they're buying up all the properties? Yeah,
absolutely. So the big turning point, we've done all types of construction. So we've done a lot of retail, a lot of commercial renovation, stuff like that. We did our first dental office probably in like 2015, I think. My dad did it. I was still working, like I would help him. And then, like, obviously I was a police officer at the time. So he kind of did it, kind of got through it. We were kind of like curious. We're like, man, this was a fun build. It was easy. It was like, all the things we did well, it amplified those. It really got going after COVID, because what happened was at that time at 2015 through 2020, there was like kind of an established kind of arena. So you had like the same guys doing it for the past 20 years. So it was hard to break in. COVID kind of threw that all out, because the banks kind of reworked the way they were doing it. The equipment companies kind of reworked their way of doing it. Guys who were on the edge of like retirement kind of left. So it kind of opened this whole room up to like, man, there's all new connections here now. Before it was like they would answer your call, but like they already had their go-tos. So I would say about 2020 is when it really started to perk up. And then once dental got over their like COVID break and they started opening back up, financing and everything like that, that's when it really started to pick up.
One of the things that we are finding out, because obviously we've started the process of looking for a commercial building, is that you can work in the loan to do a build out. So I know that I think you've also been with first time, commercial buyers or small business owners. Explain how that process works in terms of, a business owner being able to do a build out and have that into the loan.
Yeah, so what we do is we do like a building evaluation. So say a first time buyer wants to buy a property. We'll go in there, we'll kind of see, because it's It's different than like a rollover investor where someone's done it a million times because they have other properties they can pull equities from to cover the cost of anything that might pop up. So when it's like a first property bought, it's kind of really a detailed process. So we try to go in there, make sure we assess that the power, the parking, all that stuff is there because those are big ticket items. So we try to give, like, we call it a budget analysis. So we kind of meet with the client, look at the building, the guts of it, see what it needs. And then in addition to their build out. So what do you like? Because sometimes maybe if they find a building like office retail and it's set up, like it's just a quick fix. Sometimes, a lot of times with dentists, we're going in there and gutting the whole thing. So we kind of give them the build out cost based on that and then try to roll it in. SBAs are funny that way. Sometimes they will allocate some funds for it, but they really want to they want to know what their money's going towards. So it's better if the building appraises higher because then if you get a higher appraisal, you got a little more money to work with, a little flex. But that's typically how we do it, our process.
One of the things that we've recently learned is, you said parking being a big ticket item.
Yeah.
We've been looking at, all different kinds of properties, even ones that are, zoned for office, but currently being used as, multifamily or something like that.
Yeah.
And so we found a property in St. Pete that we thought would look great as an office building right on MLK, but it was being used as a multifamily duplex. And then Eli, our good friend, let us know that, hey, it's not as easy as just, putting a sign out there and saying, hey, it's an office now. You got to make sure there's requisite parking according to the city code. Yeah. And so when we looked at the how many parking spots we would need for the square footage of the building, we quickly realized, hey, there was going to be no way we're going to be able to have parking at this location.
With the footprint of the building.
So that's just, it's so different looking for a commercial space compared to, buying a home or buying a rental property.
Yeah, for sure. And like a lot of times, like in St. Pete, South Tampa, a lot of these areas that are established, they've had a lot of conversions of residential to retail or commercial. And that's like a slippery slope because it's like you have some of these small, like especially like chiropractors or like, attorneys or like accountants, they'll have turned that into a professional space and now they're trying to sell it as such. But at this point, we're trying, like they've been there 30 years. So now we're trying to bring up ADA ramps, ADA code, all that stuff. So it becomes kind of monumental. And it's not heartbreaking, but it's definitely a downer because like we'll go with a client, they'll be like, man, I found this. This is great. It's perfect location. Everything lines up. And then I'll be like, all right, so I don't want to be the bearer of bad news or the dark cloud here, but like there's no way we're going to get your parking. And a lot of times down there, especially in St. Pete too, there's a lot of buildings where they have easement. And over time, if those buildings have been there, they'll like put shell or rock or something like that. So it does act as a practical parking spot. But like for you guys applying for a new building permit and stuff, the city's like, that's not a parking spot. Like that's been used as a parking spot, but it's not considered one of the spots in comparison to the square footage.
I just definitely did not realize the difference between commercial versus residential. I was like, oh, we'll go in, we'll find this commercial building, it will be great. And it has definitely been a learning experience for sure. Yeah. We're hopeful that, the right building will come up, but definitely a whole new experience trying to buy commercial versus residential.
It's tough. Yeah, it's tough. It's residential's a lot faster. A lot less hoops to jump through, especially if you're going SBA. SBA has all this criteria that you have to hit. And honestly, it just depends on, like, with the SBA, you can have all your ducks in a row, and it falls on someone's desk who just doesn't see it your way. And it's like, man, this is like, we're all right there. And then you're filling out all these documents. So, yeah, it's definitely a different process.
Do you, changing gears just a little bit, do you think that your kids will go into the family business?
I have 4, so I'm hoping. I think one of them will. They'll all have to at some point. Yes. So the 2 older ones are doing it now, just on like the weekends and stuff. I bring them
that's awesome.
To clean up, or if I drop some stuff off.
I thought you meant for tax purposes. They're doing it now.
Yeah. That would be a good one. Yeah. No, but they. I think it's good they learn it. I learned it. Like I'm not asking them to love it. I mean, I only started to love it when I grew up. Like I didn't love it when I was a kid out there digging and stuff like that. But I think it's a good industry to learn. I think with the changing of times, I think it's a great industry because a lot of stuff is converting to AI and stuff like that. I feel like the trades are just going to elevate because there's not a lot of people that are doing it. Like trade schools are down, everything's down. So I feel like any knowledge you gain, whether it be like through liking it or just through just inherently because you're around it a lot, I think would benefit them in the long run.
I think you're absolutely correct in terms of AI and what AI is going to take over. I think it's going to be a lot more difficult for AI to take over building a house or, getting in there and doing, build outs of these medical centers.
Yeah.
I would not be disappointed if my kids went into construction and engineering and learned how to, build with their hands. I think it's an extremely important skill to use, something that I necessarily wasn't privy to growing up, but I realize now just how important it is. Something breaks, we call a plumber. We need an electrician. Little things that I would love to be able to
just
fix.
Troubleshoot. Yeah, I think that just being around it, because it's like kind of daunting. Like, you might look at something and be like, oh man, this is monumental. But just that little bit of knowledge, you'll be like, okay, I just got to do this. I mean, honestly, the best resource is YouTube. And it sounds like we used to do it as younger, like when YouTube started coming out, like especially just for reference and stuff, we used to get into it. And then like these older guys would be like, nah, man, that's not going to teach you anything. It's like, dude, this has some cool stuff on it. And like, you literally can learn how to troubleshoot stuff. Yeah. So as ironic as it sounds, not that that's not the way we run our whole company, but like we're creative enough to kind of like figure it out that way. If rely on another source.
Just story real quick. So I had bought my first home back in 2015.
Okay.
I was on a limited budget, but I wanted to redo it and just, painting, simple stuff. So I needed to get new light fixtures. I had an electrician come out, and probably because I was a female, they were kind enough to show me how to do the light fixtures myself, so I didn't have to have them do all of them.
Okay.
So I felt like I got pretty good, changed out some light fixtures, and then I got a little probably too confident, and I went to go change out a fan. I shocked myself. I thought I was dying. I was like, I am done. I am not doing that again. Yeah. But I'm glad that I at least had someone show me what to do to be able to do it. But it's just, again,
did you touch the black and the white, or?
I don't know what I did. I thought I had it right, but it was also an older house, so maybe there was something with the electrical.
Yeah, some of that wire can kind of.
And I also didn't shut off the electric.
Oh, so you're doing it hot? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But again, lesson learned. But to have that knowledge though of you see these electricians come in and they just quickly change it and do it, and I'm like, I'm paying $75 per light, and it's like, I can do this, but it didn't go directly as planned, but still. Yeah.
I mean, that's what you're paying for, right? Is the experience, expertise. So like when we send people to do a small job or something, they'll be like, why is it so much? I'm like, well, they did it fast. You're back open, but that's the years of them knowing how to do it fast. I could send some guy there to just bang on stuff for 6 hours, but it's not going to get right. So, but yeah, no, a point to that too. When I was growing up, I was always in it. So I was shocked a ton.
Were you?
Yeah, just because
that
you're doing
explains a lot.
Yeah, it does. Oh, it does. That's what my wife says. So we would cut wires when we're doing demo, just different stuff like that. So when I got tased at the police academy, everybody's freaking out, and then I got tased, and I'm like, hey man, it's been worse. It's worse to get stuck with a wire and feel that live joint. So it was funny because I was not fazed by it. And then I showed all my buddies that I worked with in construction, and they're like, dude, I've seen you shocked way worse than that. I'm like, yeah man, it wasn't that bad. So it was
That's
funny.
very interesting, because obviously we will see videos of clients getting tased, and it's intense.
Oh yeah. That's why they make all the cops do it. So we all had to get tased.
So did you drop when you got tased?
So they had us. The funny part was the first time I got tased, the holster, the cartridge didn't work. So I was like, oh, this is awesome. This still counts. So then they got a new holster or new cartridge. No, they had guys on the side of us. So they let us feel it, and then so you got hit, and then the spray was pretty good. So hit my shoulder and then my calf. So it was going through, and then they lowered us down. Okay. But I got tased when I was out on the street and stuff like that, because it's any electrical current. So if it was in the bad guy and then I got stuck with the other one, now we're just joined at the hip. So it was interesting.
I remember I used to work in Brevard, and it wasn't in my courtroom, but a client, not my client, ended up doing something he probably shouldn't have done. Deputy went to go tase the client, tased another deputy, and it was a whole big deal. And I was like, oh no.
I did that with pepper spray.
Did you?
I've pepper sprays or whatever they call it, OC. That was way worse than the thing. We were getting ready to do it on a suspect, and I don't know. I never used it. Like I wasn't. We can go into a whole thing about me being a cop, but like I was always kind of more like negotiating rather than like, even though I was bigger, like I always didn't want to get to that point. So, but this particular time we needed it. So there's 4 of us, and we were getting ready to go into a room, and there was one guy here. So I didn't use it a lot. Like, so I just opened it, and the plan was to put it in the room to disable him and then go in.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't realize the thing was turned. And
Oh,
so when
no.
I'm like, here we go. And then I do this, and it hits him, and then it hits me on the shoulder. And I'm like, oh man, it's like a police academy movie. I'm like, okay, so now I took out him. We're down one guy. I can't barely breathe. Like, so it was just one of those things when we're talking about like less lethal stuff. But yeah, when I got shocked, it was definitely my construction experience helped me get through that.
Shifting gears again. So one of the things that you said that you do sort of as your alone time to just recharge, refresh is coach high school and youth football.
Yes. Yeah. So I coached for a while. I've been in coaching since about 2008. So I've been in Pinellas County the whole time. I started at where we went CCC, and then I spent a lot of time in Clearwater High. And then recently, when we had our 4th kid, I kind of took a couple of years off, and then a couple of my buddies went up to Eastlake High, and I just got on with them. It's a great program. But yeah, it's a good way for me to kind of get out, because I'm still like around the kids. Like I can bring my kids there, but it's like kind of a hobby.
So you got 1 or 2 boys?
I have 2 boys.
2 boys.
2 boys, yeah.
Are you going to have them play football when they get older?
My one son, so my older son, Carline, he does mostly like running and different stuff like that. So sports, he's interested in sports, but not to the point of like organized sports, I guess I would say. He's into other stuff. My other son, Cam, is 6, so this is his first year of tackle football.
Okay.
So he's got into it. I tried to kind of hold him off for a while. We did baseball for a while, and then so I figured, I'm like, hey, let's just try it. And then if he doesn't like it, which isn't the case, but he likes it. So I was kind of hoping, okay, so we'll just learn early on. Okay, you don't like it, we'll move on to something else. But yeah, so I'm coaching him with a couple good guys over
that's
at this
awesome.
thing. Yeah.
What is it like having coaching your son and having to make sure you don't, favor him or make him the starting quarterback? Or
it's being around coaching for a while has helped me with that, because I've had a lot of guys that have coached their own kids, and I try to make it almost like I feel like I'm harder on him, rightfully so, just because I don't ever want him to get anything, kind of given to him, and I've kind of learned that through guys that I coach with. So like, have the guy that I'm coaching with now is great. We coached his son at quarterback, and he was harder on him than anybody on the team. So if anything went wrong, even if it wasn't his fault, it was this kid's fault. So I kind of took that model, and I'm kind of just like, hey man, like if you want to do this, you can do this, but you're not getting any excuses because I'm out here. Stuff like that.
This is the first year that we've signed our 2 boys up for flag football.
Yes.
They're 8 and 6.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Our youngest one, he said, I thought this was going to be tackle. He's very, very aggressive, so much boy. But I think it's a good starting point for him just to at least learn the game. But I'm glad that they're in it.
Yeah, no, flag's a great opportunity for them to kind of get acquainted with different positions, different terminology, different ways to play it. So I think that wasn't huge when we were younger. It was around, but it seems like now that's like taken off. Like, I mean, there's multiple leagues, multiple teams, so it's pretty cool.
Especially in the high school level, because you see these 7-on-7 tournaments where it's basically the quarterbacks, wide receivers, running back, DB. There's like no O-line, and it's just the skill positions trying to make plays out there. And the big schools like UF, FSU, Ohio State, they all host these camps that showcase these 7-on-7 type tournaments, and that's where you can really get noticed, in front of colleges.
Oh yeah, it's been a great recruiting. I mean, football's year round now, so I mean, you get these kids, and the 7-on-7 is great because like, if a kid goes to a school that's maybe mostly run option, like he don't get the film. So if he goes to one of those camps, he could stand out. So.
Have you played against IMG Academy down in Bradenton?
I have not. I've seen them play. I haven't coached against them yet. They're the real deal.
My cousin she's up in Maine, and her boys play basketball, and
Okay.
so that she's been looking at the school. So I, the other day I just looked at it just to see, what it's all about.
Yeah.
And the boarding for 1 year was in the $90-something thousand. I could not believe it. I mean, great that we
Yeah.
have that option here, but it is crazy how just sports are, exploding and just having, those options, because I don't think that was a thing when I was growing up.
We had Admiral Farragut, but
Yeah.
that's about it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, especially with football, you've seen, because I think like once they commit to that football, all the other sports,
Yes.
they do better as well. But yeah, like, I mean, like some of these schools, they're building like just football complexes, and it's crazy. It's like, there's like local high schools. I mean, a lot of the private schools are getting to that point, but I mean, their programs are so elite now. I mean, you'll get some of these schools that won't lose a game for a couple of years. I mean, so it's pretty cool to see.
So one of the things that I loved about you got a great parenting hack, a go-to parenting hack, and I love it, and I'm going to start using it more often. And it's go talk to your mom. Go ask your mother.
That's definitely my hack. That's definitely my way.
Does she ever give you any blowback because she's always having to be the one to either play the bad guy?
Oh,
or,
my wife?
Yeah.
No. I mean, some, because she thinks I'm too cool with them. I'm too laid back. But yeah, I just find myself, because life's moving so fast. So especially, I think that's one of the things I didn't expect as a parent. I kind of, you can only speak to your experience as a child. I mean, so like, right. I felt like I wasn't as, not argumentative, but just like negotiating everything. I felt like if my parents told me to do something, like I might give them a little pushback, but it wasn't like a negotiation. It was like, hey, I'll do it, like whatever. And, but like, I feel like now I get put in, because, you'll be running the business on a phone call. All these things are distracting you. And then they'll ask you something like, hey, can I get this on Amazon? And I'll be like, yeah, whatever. Not knowing that, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what I committed to, or can we go to Crumble Cookie or something? Like, I don't know. I'm trying to get from point A to point B. I'm agreeing to, at some points, I'll agree to anything. I mean, just get out of my way. And then if I'm trying to get something done. And then, so that's when I kind of went to that, like, especially entering the teenage years. I'm kind of like, hey, you got to get with mom. So we have like, with my oldest daughter, we have our text. And like, she'll ask for stuff, and I'm like, I cut and paste it and put it in the group chat. I'm like, this is where it needs to go. Like, do not ask me. This is who you need to ask and clear it. Especially with Amazon, because we didn't have that as kids.
Yeah.
So like, these kids can like, they're like, hey, can I get this now? And I'm like, everything's moving, so I don't know. And like, Amazon lives at our house, so like, I have no clue. And so like, my wife will open it up and be like, you bought this? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, when did you mention this? She's like, I texted you this. I'm like, all right, this is too fast. Like, get with your mom. So that's kind of my thing.
I think it's a great hack.
Yeah. It works. Hey, it works. You guys are in charge. So I kind of try to pass it off. And then I feel like if I run it by her, I'm like, hey, you agreed to this too.
Right.
So like, I'm in the clear. So
Kenny, thank you so much for being on our podcast. It has been a blast having you with us.
No, I really appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much. It's awesome what you guys did here, man. It looks great.
Thanks.
Real quick, why don't you tell our listeners where they can find you and how they can reach you?
So we're on AccurateConstructionCorp.com. If you want to check it out, we have a lot of like certain projects. Like we do some retail and stuff, so they can get a good grasp of all of our stuff like that. On Facebook, we're at Accurate FLA. So just kind of search us, and then Instagram. We don't have a huge social media presence, only because a lot of our projects are they're kind of covert. Like doctors are opening offices, and they don't want anybody to know. But we kind of have a little bit of fun. We're playing with TikTok a little bit, so we'll see what happens.
Well, again, thank you very much for coming on the show, Kenny. It's been a blast. And stay tuned, because we've got our segment on What Happened to Florida Man coming up next. Welcome back. Now, for this segment on What Happened to Florida Man, and for the next couple, we're going to have a pending case, so we don't necessarily know the outcome yet, but we're going to revisit it later on and figure out what happened. And so in this particular case, there was a gentleman in Orlando, Florida. This happened, I think, in July of this year, so just last month, that he was caught smuggling cocaine into the Magic Kingdom. And so a little too much magic in the Magic Kingdom. He was charged with possession of cocaine, which is a third-degree felony. Hopefully he didn't have his children with him at the time, but, this is the Magic Kingdom, so hopefully he will get some good representation, because I think the cocaine was found in his wallet, which anytime you've got a possession case, they have to prove that you knew the substance was there and that you had the ability to exercise control over that substance. So usually when things are found in your pocket, in your wallet, that's got your ID, that tends to prove that you knew it was there. And so we'll have to find out what happens to this gentleman later on in one of our other episodes.
If he doesn't have any priors, it could be a PTI or a withhold case, but we'll definitely have to keep tabs on it.
Yes, no white magic in the Magic Kingdom. So this has been another episode of From Courtroom to Carline, a legal parenting podcast. Stay tuned for our next episode.